If you want financial success, if you want financial freedom, if you want financial independence, this video is actually for you. The simplest way to have extra money in your pocket is by avoiding wrong financial decisions about money.
Get ready.
A lot of people have actually made wrong financial decisions about money, and they are living a life of financial regrets. Wrong financial decisions can actually impact our life negatively, and if care is not taken, we may find ourselves in an unpalatable condition or situation. Some wrong financial decisions are actually obvious, and some are not even obvious. Those that are obvious are the ones that we can see, and the ones that are not obvious are the ones that we cannot even see, and in most cases we are not even aware that we are making these mistakes. In this video, I'm going to be talking about 5 wrong financial decisions people make about money, so that at the end of the day you are going to avoid these wrong financial decisions. At the end of the day, you are going to have what we call financial success. You are going to have financial freedom. Number 1, not having financial priority for your money. A lot of people do not have financial priority for their money. You cannot actually blame them, because we are now in a materialistic society. We are now in a society where people actually try to copycat or try to give an impression that they are actually rich, but in reality they are not rich. So in the course of trying to impress people, in the course of trying to give a different view about who they are, they spend a lot of money. In most cases, they spend the money even before getting the money. How did they actually spend the money before getting the money? They spend the money before getting the money because in trying to impress people, in trying to show to people that they are actually rich, they actually go for credit facilities, buy now, pay later, easy buy, loans, and the rest of them. And at the end of the day, these things are actually creating a hole in their pocket. In the financial world, if you are indebted, it is going to be very difficult for you to have what I call financial freedom. Financial debt makes it difficult for you to invest your money, because at the end of the day, you are always settling one debt or another. At the end of the day, you are always indebted. At the end of the day, you don't have any money to save, you don't have any money to invest. You should be focused on paying the debt first if you desire financial independence. And what are we talking about here? You should limit what you take, and also you should clear your debt. After you have actually cleared your debt, then you can now start investing your money. Because in most cases, this is the mistake people always make. They always wanted to invest their money first before paying their debt. But at the end of the day, you realize that when you follow this pattern, you are not gaining at the end. Why is it like that? You see, the amount of money that you pay when you actually collect debt in Nigeria is about 37% in some banks, it's about 35% in some banks, it's about 30% in some banks. But when you invest your money, what do you make at the end of the day? You make roughly 23%. Now compare 23% to 30% or 35 or 30%. The differences are very, very big. So it is imperative, or it is more better off for you to pay your debt first, which attracts a higher interest. Then you can now start investing the money, as opposed to investing your money and paying your debt. Because at the end of the day, the money you are going to realize from investing your money might not be able to cover for all your debts. You should not forget also that you need to save some money, because in our part of the world, people don't save money. People don't believe in saving their money. They get the money, they spend the money. Among the low income earner, they get the money, they spend the money. Among the middle class, they get the money and use that money to pay off their credit facilities, so that they can have more access to more debt at the end of the day. But for you to survive in this capitalist economic system or free market economic system, you need to save some money. When you save some money, you are actually preparing for a period of emergency, because life actually happens. And when life happens, you don't know when it is going to happen. You may lose your job, you may have to pay your children's school fees, you may have to repair your car, you may have to pay for your house rent and some other things like that, and some other miscellaneouses that can actually take money away from you. And that is why it is very important for you to start saving money today for a period of emergency. After paying your debt, don't forget, you can start investing your money. You need to have enough money in your investment. People make a lot of mistakes also in this regard, in the sense that they believe that when they start investing at the early stage, they can now be talking about generational wealth or generational legacy. It doesn't work like that. Investment is a decade of sacrifice. Investment takes a long period of time for it to actually compound to something big. We are talking about 5 to 10 years of time. And if you have the capability, you can go beyond that to 15 or 20 years. At this point, you can have what we call generational wealth. So if you're actually believing that when you start investing at the early stage, they can now start talking about generational wealth, it doesn't work like that, because at that time, the money is not big enough. So for you to actually, make enough money for yourself at the end of the day, you need to start investing early and invest continuously. It can be monthly, it can be every 3 months, it can be every 6 months, it can be weekly, or it can be yearly, depending on your ability or your strengths. Another wrong financial decisions people make about money is that they think that their credit scores can actually make them to be rich. This situation is common among the middle class. They believe that the more they pay up their credit card debt, the more they have more access to more credit facilities. They believe that when they quickly pay up that debt that they are owing, they can be able to access more debt. But it doesn't work like that. Credit card debt does not make you rich, but rather it is making you to be more poor, because at the end of the day, you are making some people to be more richer. You need to know that credit scores only show how often and early you pay your debt. Credit scores only allow you to buy more debt and more liabilities. At the end of the day, you are making some people to be rich and making yourself to be poorer. So you are making yourself to be more broke, and you are making yourself to be more indebted. To avoid credit card score debt, you must use your card to make most of your purchases. Number 3 wrong financial decisions people make about money is living fake rich life. Fake rich life. People believe that liabilities actually create a value, but it doesn't work like that. Liability does not create a value. What creates value is actually asset. Asset creates value, but liability actually creates a hole in your pocket. We're now in a society where a lot of people actually want to give an impression that they are actually rich. They want to impress people. They want to show themselves that they are wealthy on the social media, on other platforms, and the rest of them. But in the reality, most of this money are actually funded by credit cards, by debt, by buy now, pay later, easy buy, and the rest of them, and mortgages. So a lot of people want to look rich, but in reality, they are not rich. You need to know that you are making other people rich when you're actually buying liabilities. You see, one thing about wealthy people or rich people is that they don't buy liabilities, they buy more assets. Wealthy people will buy assets that will make more money for them, that will create more values for them, as opposed to liabilities. Number 4 wrong financial mistake people make about money is not investing in themselves. A lot of people don't invest in themselves. If I ask you the question, when last did you read books? When last did you listen to podcasts or what podcasts? When last did you visit YouTube to watch videos on finances, on wealth creation, and the rest of them? I am so sure that it has been a very, very long time, or some people have not even visited it because they don't have that time. So people don't invest in themselves. You need to start investing in yourself in 2025. You need to read more books. You need to watch more podcasts and listen to more podcasts. You need to visit YouTube and watch videos on finances, on wealth creation, on personal development, and some other things that you need that can actually boost you up on the area of financial education. You see, you need to understand that you earn more money when you invest in yourself. You grow your mindset when you invest in yourself. And this is what I call the growth mindset. So you need to stimulate your growth mindset by actually investing in yourself, and by actually giving time to reading books, by actually giving time to things that can actually build you up in your area of your financial life. It is very important that you have the 4 pillars of wealth. And what are the 4 pillars of wealth? When you have physical fitness, financial fitness, spiritual fitness, and mental fitness. When these four are actually complete, then you can say that you're actually wealthy. So start investing in yourself. When you invest in yourself, you are actually making yourself to be richer. When you invest in yourself, you are actually growing your mindset. You are developing your mindset. When you invest in yourself, you are actually making yourself to be wealthy at the end of the day. When you actually invest in yourself, you are gathering more financial education. Number 5 ways through which people make wrong decisions about money is not investing in longer term. Investment is actually a long-term endeavor. Investment is actually a decade of sacrifice. When you're talking about an investment, it's something that you go through over a long period of time, and at that time your money can now compound after so many years. We are talking about a decade of sacrifice of 5, 10, 15, 20 years. At that point, you can have what we call generational wealth, or you can transfer your wealth from yourself to your children, and your children can transfer this wealth to their own children. When it occurs like that, you are having what I call generational wealth. People don't have that patience. People don't understand that investment is actually a longer time. They are always impatient, in investing for a long period of time. They always wanted the quick way, the quick way, the way that when they invest this money, the money will come just like that. They become so rich all in the twinkling of an eye. They become so rich before you know it. It doesn't work like that. Any wealth that you build within a short period of time is not a genuine wealth. It is not a legit. At the end of the day, they engage in fraudulent activities. At the end of the day, they engage or find themselves in the quick rich scheme, or get rich quick scheme. And at the end of the day also, they have their tails burnt because they always lose all their lifetime investment. And that's why I said that when you make a wrong financial decision, or when you make a wrong financial mistake, then at the end of the day, you may end up regretting for the rest of your life. And that's why, to avoid these wrong financial mistakes, you need to equip yourself with financial education. When you equip yourself with financial education, you'll be able to know that wealth is not created within a short period of time. That wealth is not created through a get-rich-quick scheme. That wealth is actually created through resilience, through pragmatism, through determination, through being focused, through a long decade of sacrifice. That's how to create wealth, not through a short-term medium, but a long-term process. So in most cases, a lot of people find themselves being burnt when they don't follow this process. So if you talk about investment, it's actually a decade of a sacrifice. It takes a long period of time. It takes a lot of sacrifice. It takes a lot of denials, because at the end of the day, you are going to deny yourself so many things that ordinarily you can be able to afford. But because you're actually investing in yourself, investing your money for the future, you avoid those things, and those things that can actually take money away from your pocket and make it very difficult for you to actually invest your money. I hope you have actually gained something from this video. If you have gained something from this video, now it's time for you to subscribe to this channel. Don't forget to share this video to that side, because a lot of people actually need financial education in this 24th century, in this 2025. And I believe you that when you follow this process I've mentioned so far, you will not make mistake about money again. You will now begin to develop an habit of investment. You will now begin to operate investment and begin to grow your money. And over a period of time, or some years later, you can be happy and glad that you are now becoming rich or wealthy. So wealth is actually a decade of sacrifice. It is actually a long process, 10 years, 5 years, 15, 20 years, and not a short-term process like a lot of people are meant to believe.